We're going to talk about Central Asia. So basically, today we're going to look at the stands. Okay, so from Kazakhstan all the way down to Afghanistan. So all these countries here plus Afghanistan, and then we're also going to look at Georgia, Armenia, and Azerbaijan as well. So we're going to take a look at these countries too. Okay, here we go. So the people. So in Afghanistan, Afghanistan is a very mountainous country that is home to many different ethnic groups. One really dominant group is the Pashtun people. But there's more than 50 ethnic groups that live in the Caucasus area, so that's where Georgia, Armenia, Azerbaijan is. And the Armenians, 98% are of Armenia, and then the Georgians are the largest ethnic group in that area. And then most of the Turkic peoples outside of Turkey and in Central Asia, this would include the Uzbeks. Okay, so they're a very large Turkish groups, and then the Kazakhs. The Kazakhs are actually a minority in their own country, even though it's named Kazakhstan. So remember the word "stan," or the suffix "stan." It just means country. So the Uzbekistan, it's the country of the Uzbeks. It's country of the Kazakhs. Okay, for Kazakhstan. Okay. So cultures and conquest. So Central Asia was really a crossroads for cultures because there's a lot of different cultures going to and from Asia, and like between Asia and Europe and the Middle East. It all kind of comes together there. So Georgia's ancient history developed a language unlike any other as a result of this. So Georgian is actually of the Kartvelian language family. And the kingdom of Urartu dates back to the 800s BC. And basically, that kingdom ruled the entire Caucasus region. And it later became a part of the Roman Empire and adopted Western culture. And then in 100 BC, Central Asia really prospered from the Silk Road. So the Silk Road was a trade route that basically connected China to the Mediterranean Sea. And so a lot of cities along the way have thrived as trading centers, and a lot of them are in Central Asia and even in the Caucasus region. So this right here shows you the Silk Road. Okay, so the red is by land, and then the blue is mostly by sea. Okay, so that's the maritime. And you can see, we're talking about this region right here. So a lot of this, and then this is the Caucasus region as well. They're making a ton of money trading with these other merchants and that on the Silk Road. Okay, so because of its accessible location, Central Asia has come under control of various empires. In the 1200s, Genghis Khan is going to lead the Mongols, who came in from northern China. He's going to lead their forces into that area. And the Mongols really ruled. When they came in to conquer, they wanted you to know they were coming, and they wanted you to be scared. They wanted you to be so scared of them that you wouldn't even fight back. Okay, so they often used all kinds of terror and intimidation tactics, and people were really scared of the Mongols. So they killed tens of thousands of people to gain control of Central Asia. But once they took control, they were actually pretty good rulers after they killed off all your leaders in that. So the people left behind actually saw improvements. So things like paper money, safer trade routes, things like that, infrastructure changes, all of that was brought on by the Mongols. Other empires that are going to take over this area included Alexander the Great, the Persians, the Arabs, and then the Ottoman Turks will all take over land in this area. So the Armenians resisted conquest, and Armenia sits between Muslim countries, so Turkey and Azerbaijan, and Armenia is very, very Christian. There's even there's an Armenian quarter in Jerusalem that's dedicated to the Armenians. But in 1950, about 1 million Armenians in Turkey were massacred, deported, or died of illness at the hands of the Ottoman Turks, even though the Turkish people still to this day deny it ever happened. It definitely happened. But recently, about 20% have left looking for a more prosperous life. So they have left that area. Azerbaijan is an enclave. So this is a distinct group of people who are kind of isolated from the main or larger part of the country. So they are a Muslim culture that's surrounded by Christian nations, but because of their geography, they're kind of isolated from those Muslim nations. But the Russian Empire actually unified parts of Central Asia. So by 1936, it was all under Soviet control. Okay, so this right here kind of shows you how the enclave that I was talking about works. So here's Georgia and Armenia. These are very Christian nations, but Azerbaijan is Muslim, but there's mountains all through here. Okay, so they're kind of cut off from the rest of the Muslim world here. Okay. All right. Independence. So many have declared independence in 1991 when the Soviet Union dissolved. Armenia has been relatively stable. Tajikistan, for example, has been very chaotic. It still has Russian military influence in it. In 1979, the Soviets invaded Afghanistan, and this is going to be so. We're going to watch a movie. It's called The Kite Runner. You've probably heard of it, and hopefully, maybe even read the book, maybe in middle school. But the whole premise of it starts with the Soviets coming into Afghanistan. Okay, so once they did that, it's going to prompt military reaction from the Afghan freedom fighters known as the Mujahideen. And so the Soviets eventually left, and when the Soviet Union fell in 91, and then the Taliban took over, and they've imposed extreme interpretation on Islam in the country. And they still, in a lot of ways, there's been a lot of turmoil and wars in Afghanistan. The U.S. has tried, last 10, 15 years to get control of it, but it's still a presence there. So following the attacks on 9/11, the U.S. overthrew Afghanistan's Taliban-led government because that sheltered Osama bin Laden and Al-Qaeda. Does that mean that the Taliban and Al-Qaeda are totally gone? Not necessarily. They have not been as active lately as they were obviously in the past. And the U.S. has done a lot to really kind of subdue them, which is a good thing because they're definitely terrorists. But despite holding elections in 2004, the new Afghan government still has serious problems, and the U.S. still has troops to this day in Afghanistan. Language. So the vast majority of the people speak some sort of Turkish language. So the Armenians, Tajiks, and Afghan, Persian, and Pashto languages are all Indo-European languages. But Georgia, like I said, has its own unique language, so it has its own unique alphabet. So they speak Georgian, which, like I said, is a Kartvelian language family. Russian is primarily spoken in Kazakhstan, Turkmenistan, and Uzbekistan. As far as religion goes, it's mostly Islam is the major religion, mostly Sunni, but there are some Azerbaijani Muslims that follow the Shia branch. But in Armenia and Georgia, they're mostly Christian. So 90% of Armenians are of the Armenian Apostolic Church, and the Georgians practice Georgian Orthodox, which is all it's all a branch basically from when the Byzantine Empire existed and created Orthodox Christianity. That all comes from that. Okay, education. Excuse me. So education is compulsory through secondary school. Afghanistan and Uzbekistan are lagging behind, and a lot of that has to do with the turmoil with their governments. But Tajikistan has an 88% literacy rate, which is pretty good, but Armenia and Georgia, on the other hand, are at 99%, which is excellent. Healthcare, so the resources have been lacking since the fall of the Soviet Union, but there are more government-owned healthcare hospitals, and so once again you see rationing of care in that. In the arts, there's a very rich literary tradition out of Central Asia. So in the 1900s, great novelists emerged, and when it fell under the Soviet Union, the arts were suppressed, but there has been a resurgence since the fall of communism. So part of that is what we're going to watch with The Kite Runner, where the author of the book is Khaled Hosseini, and he was born in Kabul in Afghanistan, and he wrote The Kite Runner based on some of his experiences in that. So, okay, that's all I got for you today. I hope you all have a good day. Don't forget to do your processor.